Hello and welcome to a cuppa with So Timeless with me, Rowena, and with little Tilly who decided to join us today. Say hello. So she doesn't want to often be in my videos because she doesn't like being on film or having a photo taken. I have to trick her when I want to take a photo of her. So today I'm decided to do something a little bit different. I mostly just wanted to have a bit of a chat, and I found something really interesting in the cupboard which I want to show you and tell you a little bit more about and a little bit of history about. So we'll do that today. So one of the things I'm doing today is pattern making. I have a few of these patterns which I'm not too keen on, but sometimes you have to go with things you're not too keen on. It's a pattern which is reprinted from the original from 1940. So you might recognize this red spotted blouse because that is the red spotted blouse that I've made and I have videos on and is listed in my Etsy store. Now this pattern is one size only because that's the way patterns were made in vintage times. They were just one size only. You didn't have multi-size patterns, and unfortunately this pattern is round about size 16 to 18, larger size 16 to 18. I really want to make that blouse for myself and I cannot find another pattern that is like this one. It's a simple enough pattern. It's just straight cut lapel type yoke with a V-neck with small lapels, a small collar, a cornered collar, gathers onto the lapel section, little short sleeves and a couple of pleats at the bottom. Not sure if I'll put the pleats into my personal one. I'll decide later on. I also would like to make maybe some of the long sleeve ones as well for my Etsy store because I have the short sleeve one on. But also if somebody wants to order one in a different size, I need to start working on getting this pattern into alternate sizes. So I thought, since I want to make one for myself and I have the fabric already that I want to make it with, why not do that today? Didn't really have time for sewing today, so I thought I would work on a pattern and developing this pattern. So I'll start off. Usually what I do with these, what I've done with previous ones, is I go down one size at a time when cutting alternate sizes. So I'll cut one size down and it takes a long time because I have to measure each pattern piece carefully. There's specific places where you reduce sizes, shorten, lengthen, etc. And you have to do it in the right size, otherwise the pieces don't fit together properly. So it is quite a lot of work, and you have to also be careful because, say for example, you need 2 centimeters for all the way around the garment. You can't add just 2 centimeters onto one piece. You have to divide that into however many pieces there are. So usually it's panels of 4. So even if the back is cut on a fold, it's 2 panels on a fold together. So you're wanting to add ½ centimeter to each panel to get your full 2 centimeters, if that makes sense. It's making sense in my head because it's what I'm planning to do. So I have pattern paper, I have a pencil, much easier to use. I need to go and find a rubber actually, an eraser. So if I make mistakes, I've got a way of undoing them. I have my pattern making ruler. You get these in all different sizes and shapes. They're handy for doing different parts of patterns. This one I find, the only reason I had these because my daughter did a costume making course as part of her set design degree at uni, and so she had to have all these pattern making things, and this was one she didn't actually need. I actually want to, we spent quite a lot of money buying different rulers and things, so I want to get those back from her. I think she's finished with them now so that I can use them. And all important scissors for cutting out the pattern pieces. So I'll work on that over the course of the afternoon and see how I go. I might or I might not get that finished. There's only a few pattern pieces, so it shouldn't take too long. And then the thing I found in the cupboard, it's quite exciting. I'd forgotten all about this actually. It's just a real pity that it's become a little bit ruined with time, but it still looks pretty good, and it's got a very interesting history behind it. So this is a chocolate box from somewhere between the 1930s and the 1960s. This particular one I know is from round about 1945, because this one was given to me by my gran, and this was given to my gran by my grandfather when they were courting. Now I know they got married somewhere around 1945, 1946, and it would have been before that he gave this to her when they were courting, and I've had it all these years. It's still got the ribbon, although the ribbons come off the box in a lot of places, sadly. It's just from, I think, moving and keeping it in different cupboards and things, it's unfortunately come a bit apart. It's still got the tassel on the front, but unfortunately the lid has come loose from the actual box itself. You can see the inside's a bit funny enough though. I was looking at to see how much these are worth. They're not worth a lot, it's about £8 to £12 depending where you look, and the inside of all the boxes look exactly like that. So I'm not sure why it gets that sort of almost like watermarks to it, but all the boxes that I saw advertised all had those marks in them. And what I found really interesting, and my daughter was looking at this earlier and saying to me, "Mom, why don't they do such good chocolates these days?" is the types of chocolates they had in it. I'll try and get up nice and close so you can see all the different types of chocolates that were in this box. Sorry, I can't really see what I'm showing on the screen there, so hopefully you've been able to actually see it and not just see my hand. So yeah, obviously caramel we do have, liquid cherry, you do get that in some boxes these days, hazel cluster, orange cream, truffle and nougat, butterscotch, Brazil nuts. Some of them are what we have today, but they do look a bit different, these ones as well, on these pictures. Now, the history behind this is these were first sold in, or first made in 1933. And what happened is they're made by Roundtrees. So on here you can see it in South Africa. This one is from South Africa, and in South Africa it was Wilson Roundtree. It's the same as the Roundtrees company in Britain. And in 1933 the company was about to go bankrupt, and the man who owned the company came up with the concept of making chocolate for the masses. Until then, chocolate was something that was pretty expensive. I've read in some places that it would be the equivalent of something like £100 for a box of chocolates, for some of the boxes in those days. The boxes themselves were handcrafted, a lot of them, and hand carved out of wood. So you can just imagine the treat that a box of chocolates would have been. But these boxes, I mean, these are really sturdy. I can't imagine any box of ours lasting 80 years like this one has, even though it is a bit tattered. It's still standing up, still holding together, so after 80 years. So in 1933 he decided to make chocolate for the masses. He actually did a survey, and there were a few less chocolates in this box in the original boxes, and he did a survey and got people to choose and tell him what their favorite flavors were that they wanted to see in the boxes, so that he had boxes of chocolates that people wanted and would buy. And it turned the company around. Interestingly as well, it's around about this time that they made things like Aero chocolates, Kit Kats, although they were called something different in those days, but this is when these were all developed. So they've got a rich history behind them. They've been around for a pretty long time, and hopefully not one of the ones that will be done away with at any time soon in the near future. So basically the advertising campaign was really incredible, and I will try and put a shot of one of the advertisements on at the end of this clip. But the advertising campaign was all about a woman writing to her friend, a high society woman writing to her friend at the end of a day, one evening, with her beau, the person she was courting. Until those days, a box of chocolates was tantamount to a marriage proposal, but these chocolates, this whole advertising campaign changed that and made it more something that was accessible to anybody that was courting. And the adverts are really amazing, and go and have a look at them on Google. I will try and put at least one on at the end of this clip for you to look at. But yeah, there was a letter written from one woman to her friend about what had been going on that day, what her beau had done that was amazing or special, like helped her clean up after a party, or come and taken her out for a lunch or tea, or they'd done something amazing, and then on top of that they'd given her the box of chocolates as well. So it was very interesting, very different times really, and there's a lot of good things back then that were interesting. But yes, I've read about some of the stuff that wasn't so brilliant, and there was some weird and wonderful stuff that was believed in those days and that was expected from women as well as men. So anyway, that's Black Magic chocolates, and I was trying to sort of see if I could fix this box up a little bit, fix up the lid a little bit, because it's kind of coming apart at the corners a bit, especially this bit here. That's why I checked to see as well if it was worth anything before I started putting any sellotape or glue or anything on it. But I thought I'd try and fix it up, and I've got my vintage sewing machine, which I still need to show you, and I was thinking of using this to perhaps store bits or use it for something with my vintage machine, because it'll go nicely together on the stand. But without further ado, I am going to head off and start working on this pattern now, and getting this pattern done so that I have something to show you soon. I do hope that you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.